right. Hello everyone. Sorry for the delay. Still setting up here. Let's see. You know what? I kind of forgot where we were last time. So we're gonna catch up and we're gonna get this done because I got new stuff I want to stream about in 2026. I'm gonna be off next week, obviously. What is it? Christmas Eve, right? Christmas Eve. So yeah, probably won't live stream then, and then you're kind of ending out the year. Most people are on vacation, getting ready, New Year's, blah blah blah. So this will probably be the last stream of 2026. So again, to that point, I want to finish up this kind of Confident Laravel side refactor that I started on a couple live streams ago. So to that point, let's go see where we are. So yesterday I launched fastlaravel.com video course. So that's kind of where all this stuff was inspired from. And I'm kind of going back and implementing it now that I've proved it out on Laravel Shift. I've proved it out in the video course. This is out there, launched. It was all my focus. The last month this has been my focus. So again, now that this is out there, I want to apply my own stuff, my own strategies that I demo in this course to these other things. So we've kind of been doing that on Confident Laravel, this older, much older video course I did on testing way back. So first thing I want to check, I don't remember if I put in I think we were using Zimbabwe last. So I don't think we have the Cloudflare rule that actually kicks the banner. So let's bring up PHP Storm. Let's kind of get back into it and see where I left off. Because again, I've been so heads down editing videos. I honestly, I haven't even written any code in the last 10 days because I've just been editing videos. So I've been in video editor mode. So let's get this figured out. Hey Lynn, how's it going? Thanks for joining live, man. Haven't chatted with you in a while. Confident Laravel, that's what we're after. What have we done? Let's do a get status. We definitely did some stuff last week. Okay, so we got rid of the old school purchasing power. If you didn't watch the earlier streams, basically what was happening was this homepage. You'd land on the homepage. It would send an XHR request to an API endpoint that would call a geocoding service to see if your IP was in a country that we offer purchase power. If it did, it would return an HTML snippet that got injected at the top of the page, a little banner that was like, hey, you're in Costa Rica or wherever, Zimbabwe, I think is what we've been saying. That where this course, probably feels expensive compared to the US dollar, right? So here's a discount. So that's kind of what you would see here. So I think where we ran into some snags was previously based on that service, we ripped all that stuff out, but previously it would kind of figure out the coupon to give you and all those kind of things. And I just don't need to do that anymore. This could really be simplified for two reasons. First, Cloudflare does geocoding. That was the whole point here. Cloudflare gives you a geocoded header of which country you're in. So we don't need the geo service. We don't need the API call. And the whole point of the fast Laravel stuff is that I want to cache this page. So I think right now, if we inspect the network traffic, yes, I am getting a cache hit from Cloudflare, responding in 59 milliseconds, right? And in fact, if I don't refresh in the DevTools, if I actually just visit it from here, we'll see, we should see that, yeah, disk cache. So it's actually just be loading from the browser cache. So the point is we are caching the home page, but I've now lost this purchasing power kind of flow. So I want to fix that. The production stuff's still using the API call. I think we can prove that by going over to XHR and seeing, where is this? No, not Stripe. Purchasing power. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, see, this is still hitting, production still has the API. So we're still in the middle of this refactor. So that's where we are. 5-minute catch up. Hopefully we get it now. So let's see what's going on here. So, okay, good. Hey, look at this. I left myself some to-dos, just get in the code. Let's just get in the code. We already got this open. Let's get in the code. Okay, to do. Create Cloudflare rule to set PPP query parameter. Let's go do that. And then I need to make a coupon that's just 50% off for these countries, all done, and then put the cookie out there. And then redirect them, update view to show disk. Okay, so here's what's left. Here's what's left. Look at this. I wrote this all out last time. Thank you. Thank you, old JMac, or younger, I guess. It's in the past. You would have been younger, JMac. Nice. Okay, let's go to Cloudflare. I may need to log in, so forgive me, y'all. Let's go full screen JMac for a minute. Full screen JMac. Hey. All right, let me log into Cloudflare. Cloudflare. I also need to put my Office back. I'm in the video recording edit mode here. I did kind of a different course style where I did some straight on, video camera shots, just where I was talking. So I thought that wall was cooler looking than like all my soundboardy stuff. Okay, I think we're in the right spot here. Okay, let's go back to not full screen me anymore. That's no fun. Okay, here we go. So Cloudflare dashboard, confidentlaravel.com. So yeah, look at this. See, again, more consistently, look at this cache, 94%. Now again, super tiny site, no traffic. There's no traffic here. But of the traffic that we're getting, it's not even hitting the web server. 95% of it is just being served, from Cloudflare, 94%. So let's go down to caching rules. Or actually, sorry, this is actually a transformation rule. It's not a caching rule. So let's go to rules and overview. And we need to make, I've got the redirect, we've got cache everything turned on. We did those things in a previous video. And again, these are like just little snippets from the Fast Laravel course. These are just little freebies. But like the course goes into all these different types of rules, makes all sorts. I have like 20 of these various rules for Laravel Shift. You could do a lot of stuff with these rules. We're just kind of scratching the surface here. So we need, I think this is a URL rewrite rule. I'm pretty sure it is. You know what? Sorry. Let's go full screen me again. Let me compare to what I have for Fast Laravel, because I just added purchasing power for it a couple days ago. So let me go. We're just gonna copy it from there. Let's get this done today. This is too slow. It's going too slow for me. Let's just go copy the exact rule. There's no reason to recreate it. Let's just bring up the overview tab. Offer PPP. Yes, it is a URL rewrite rule. Let me copy its expression because it's pretty dense. Okay. Coming back to you. Where are you? There you are. Not full screen me. There we go. Okay, transformation rule. It is a URL rule. It is offer PPP. There you go. You can see I've made this plenty times. We're going to do a custom expression. You could build it with their little builder. We're developers. We're programmers. I'm just going to punch it in right here. Okay, here's what it does. It says, hey, if you're requesting the home page, all right, so if you're hitting the home page of confidentlaravel.com and you don't have a coupon cookie of PPP already set, right, meaning we've already determined PPP, you've already applied your purchasing power, and you are geolocated, you've been geocoded to one of these countries, right? So we've been talking about, Zimbabwe here, right? ZW. So if you're one of these codes, that's what you get from Cloudflare. Then I'm going to rewrite the query thing, query string, rewrite the query string. And this is actually a dynamic value of this, I believe. So the reason, let me talk about this a little bit again. I talk about it in the course, but the reason I'm doing a dynamic one is there may be other query string things you're doing here, like foo bar. I don't know what you're doing. So we're going to keep that. I don't think the application has any query string stuff that it allows on the homepage, but this is just a way to say, look, we've already got all that stuff. Let's concat the rest. I don't think we need that. I think it's just this, to be honest. I'll double check that, but anyway, the point is we're going to concat to the current query string the PPP parameter for that country. So this should get us what we're trying to put in here. If we go back right now, oops, forward, we are putting in hard coding PPP-ZW, right? So this should do more or less the same thing where it triggers the PPP banner, right? So again, this just preserves this is a way to preserve the current query string, but add our country to this new PPP query parameter. All right, we're going to deploy that. Okay, so that's deployed. So again, we can hard code it all we want. In the background, if I was actually in Zimbabwe, Cloudflare would see that, add it, so forth. So I guess in this case, you could go so far as to say, look, if you don't already have the PPP thing set, but I'm kind of hacking it here, so I'm not going to worry about that logic in the Cloudflare rule. Like, the point is you should really have no query string. And in the background, when Cloudflare is processing, the request, it happens, really at the network layer, at the DNS layer, right? It's going to tack on that query string. It's not going to be in the browser here. It's only going to be given to your web server. It's only going to be sent down to PHP or Laravel in this case, right? So when we have that, I think now if we go back and look at our stuff, if we look at order controller, I believe we have already updated this to now look for that PPP bit. Yes, okay, here we go. So if the request query parameter is set, and we're gonna pull out the country for that code, and we're gonna create a temporary signed URL, and then we're gonna pass those down to the view. All right, so did we update the view to now trigger the banner? There is a banner. What is this banner doing? Oh, that's a different kind of banner. Okay. App. Here we go. Request PPP. Okay, so if request PPP, okay, again, this is not deployed right now. This is not deployed right now, but we can envision, again, when the request parameter is there, this, sorry, I'm thinking in my head here, but I'm not saying it. This should probably be an is set on PPP, because there is a little bit of logic in that controller. We can go back and take a look, right? But if the view variable for the PPP is set, it would only be set, again, this is a layout file, so all of the site, all the projects using parts of this layout, or other templates are using this layout. So you can't just say if query parameter plus, we have some logic here that's, making sure this code is, one of these countries, right? Or I thought we had that. It will have that. So can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do like and array key exists code? Yeah, see, code's technically not payment PPP. This is settings PPP country. Yeah, code's, yeah. developing PHP for over 30 years, and I had to double check that. Yeah. Somewhere in my mind, I thought, okay, like it's kind of like it's the whole and like short circuiting. Some of me thought like, okay, well, this has already been assigned, and then it goes there. I wonder if I wrap this in parentheses, is it available? No. Oh, well, not that part. Yeah, see, now it's available. Okay, so if you okay, it's precedent, so it does work. In my mind, I thought that should have worked. It does work. I just needed to be very, very clear about the precedence, right? I'm sure if we got into the table in the PHP docs, we would see the precedence between and equals throwing it off. Might that have just worked? Yeah, probably. But this kind of makes it a little more evaluate that expression. And if it's true, then move on, in which case code is set, right? It would never move on if code was not a set value, right? Meaning not null. or not falsy in this case, not a falsy value. Okay. Oh, I did not turn off my focus. Sorry, there we go. Do not disturb. 1 hour. Okay. I think this is good, and this goes back to like, there is some checking that's happening. So because some checking's happening, this is set as a better thing. So let's go back to our apply purchasing power. We've set up the transformation rule. I can make the code off bit. Now we need to put this in a cookie. Okay, we've determined that this is a legitimate, you've come in with a legitimate header. You're in one of the qualified purchasing power country, or you're qualified for purchasing power based on your geolocation. We're going to go ahead and put the coupon in the session. Now we're going to go ahead and also put it in the cookie. So we can say cookie make, and then cookie. This is kind of weird. You got to like, when you make a more complicated cookie, you have to like make one and then queue it up. So we can use the cookie facade for this. And we're going to make a PPP cookie. Its value is going to be, what do we put in here? I forget the value we put in here. What do I need in here? It really doesn't matter, to be honest. The value of this cookie is rather arbitrary. I'm just going to put the code in here, to be honest. And then I need to make sure that it's not HTTP only. So we've made the cookie. Now, whoops. Now the reason it is not HTTP only is this. The view is now going to swap out. The view, or the page, is now going to swap out the price that is displayed based on the fact that this cookie. Now, this is another talking point, and again, it's taken from the course. There's 2 or 3 videos on this, but I'll try to paraphrase. You got to remember that this page is cached. Because it's cached, we don't have access to the session, all these other things, and we need to be careful with any kind of logic that we do that makes the page dynamic. So you'd think, okay, well, let's just jump in the index, and down there wherever the price is, oh, well, we're going to have a lot of dollar signs. Down here wherever the price is, right, we have this has coupon and all this kind of stuff. There's logic here that's going to need to be adjusted, and it can't be here anymore because you have to think of this page as being static now. It's cached. It's cached, on Cloudflare. It's cached in the browser. We can't change this on the next request, right? And we don't want to cache something that one user saw because they were in Zimbabwe, and then I'm in the US and I now see the Zimbabwe price because that's what got cached. So the point is, this page has to have a default state where I'm able to now change it. And how do you change HTML, without doing it server side? Well, you do it with JavaScript, of course. So this logic now needs to be JavaScript based. Now, I'm not gonna stream the revision of this because it already exists. It's here. It's data purchase true and la la la, and the data amount. So basically, data amount and the currency and all these things, they just get swapped. So all I really have to do is write a little JavaScript that says, hey, data amount. If you have a cookie, if you have a cookie that's now available to you, because we made it not HTTP only, it's going to be available to read through in JavaScript. Because it's available, I can now say in JavaScript, hey, okay, if you have a PPP cookie, then find the data element on the page and make it this price instead. So that's just a bit of JavaScript. I think ChatGPT wrote it for me in the past, so we can go look at that if we want. There's one more thing I just remembered with this cookie, though. It's not only HTTP only, it theoretically needs to be unencrypted. So let's get into our app. Laravel encrypts these by default, so we need to get into middleware and encrypt cookies, yes, and give it an exception for PPP. All right, so I think the first parameter here is the accept, yeah, exceptions. So what does not get encrypted? That's the PPP cookie. Again, this just has the code, which That's okay if it's user identifiable. Like it's no big deal. Like there's, or not user identifiable. It's okay if a user sees the value of this cookie. There's no reason for it to be encrypted. It's going to be in request headers and all sorts of stuff. So like it's fine. Plus they know where they live. And that's also, I mentioned this in the last stream, that's also why this is kind of double opt-in. Is sure, you might be able to get in your browser or whatever and set this PPP cookie. But notice that it's still backed by the session and it's still opt-in and gets verified. It's kind of like a triple handshake. So sure, you might be able to hack the page, hack the page with the browser, query parameters here and see the banner. But once you go click the link to apply it, you're probably going to get kicked out. So again, haven't lost any of that. So the last thing to do is to update the view, which again, I'm not super worried about because the view is already there. So really what happens is that additional path where these two they just get changed. These values just get changed. So I just need to make the coupon and then basically in the front end, and again, let me log into ChatGPT and I'll just find the old code that we did, right? Full screen meme. Let's go to ChatGPT. And I think I've got some old chats. Where's my chat history? Open sidebar. Currency cookie updater. Yeah, that feels pretty close. Let me find the code. Okay, yeah, I think this is close enough. I'll copy this in for now so you get the feel, and then I think that'll be the end of this stream. Let me borrow this. You can write, this is vanilla JavaScript. Like you can write this. I use ChatGPT for two reasons. One, I don't write JavaScript very often. I know JavaScript, I just don't write it very often. It was a perfect opportunity to use something like AI to generate a small snippet of code. But kind of to that point too, being a web developer for a long time, I knew this actually wasn't a small snippet of code. Reading a cookie with JavaScript is not as straightforward as you might think. I'll show you. You actually have to, what you get from document cookie is the entire cookie string. All of your cookies, merge together in this huge concatenated string. So you have to first split up the concatenation. Historically, you used to have to do this because browsers did it, they stored their cookie string different. So the split was more complex than this in the past. I think it's been standardized enough where you just split it. But the point is you have to split it and then you have to resplit it on the individual cookies and then you have to split it again to get just the value. So it's not as straightforward as you might think. So that's another reason why I'd rather just AI kind of write that gorilla code that I'm sure it just stole from a Stack Overflow answer. So we see here, basically we have this event listener for when the page is loaded. We go through the symbols. We check this doesn't check purchasing power. This was to swap the symbols. But the point here is that instead of data currency, we write another one here that's like data amount, right? And that gets swapped with the price. So I need to make this, but the point is, this is all here. The DOM's there. It now has kind of two callbacks it needs to do. It needs to check potential currency based on your location in the world, and then swap the amount based on which coupon cookie it found. In this case, I only offer PPP, so no big deal. But that's roughly what's left here. Let me jump in the chat here. Hey everybody, how's it going? I was about to ask what happens if one manually adds the cookie. Yes, Samuel. Yeah. You can. Yeah. Again, because we've opened this up to front end, there's more. We'll call them. I'll just call them attack vectors. There's more attack vectors, but again, because this banner, like I mentioned, it's double opt-in. So you have to click. We're gonna get rid of the CSRF token and everything, but you basically have to click this banner or click this URL, which is a signed temporary URL, so you won't be able to tamper with it, and then that gets compared to what Cloudflare, where Cloudflare says you are. So sure, you can mess with the cookie and you can mess with the query string, but you're ultimately going to be checked against Cloudflare. And if Cloudflare says you're in that country, then hey, I'm already offering you the code anyway, so whatever. Lynn, does JSON not have a cookie API? MDN JSON cookie. I think they do, but it's not. I think they do, but is there not? I don't think there's a getter. I think you can create cookies and you can register the store. But yeah, well, maybe there is a get. Oh, here's a get. Get cookies API retrieves information about a cookie, given the cookie to use this cookie permission. Yeah. Browser get cookie details. Browser.cookies.get. An object containing details that are used to match a cookie. Oh, I see. Oh, the name. Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. Hey, you know what? ChatGPT didn't give that to me, so there might be something about why. I don't have that answer off the top of my head. There might be a reason why this wasn't used. Browser compatibility, maybe? Ooh. Oh no, Git seems pretty widely. Git seems pretty widely compatible here. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad to swap it out in the final production version and see what happens. So, all right, let's recap and finish up here. So let's take a look at what we've done. So we've created the rule on Cloudflare. This rule will transform the inbound URL to append a PPP query parameter that will then affect our code to do certain things. In this case, it will affect this to also set a PPP cookie. This is apply purchase power. It will affect the controller to render a different page which has the banner. Another point I missed, because it has the query string, that is part of the cache identifier. So the query string actually is a different request coming into Cloudflare. So even though it doesn't have it when the user requests it, the rewrite rules happen above the cache rules. Let me go show you what I'm talking about there. Already closed Cloudflare. Anyway, the rewrite rules happen before the cache rules. So that query string will affect the cache, meaning that whatever I return for this is what will get into the cache. So here, though, in apply purchasing power, we basically say, go ahead and put a purchasing power cookie on it. So when we redirect them back to buy now, the JavaScript will be triggered to show the lower price. So just a few changes here, but there's a lot going on. Here we just kind of hacked an additional logic check to make sure that not only you have the PPP query string, but it is one of the countries that qualifies for purchasing power. We've made sure that cookie is not encrypted just in case we need access to the value to JavaScript. I don't think that we do, but it's there. And then I just threw in some real quick code here from ChatGPT that'll basically on page loads, I need to finish it out, but it's going to see now if you have that purchasing power and put the correct price in here. I need to go make that coupon so I know like what are the exact prices that I'm offering, because it's technically more than 50% because I like to have nice little round numbers here. So like, you know, instead of being $64.98, you know, I might make it $59, right? So I'm going to tweak that exact number there. And that's no fun to watch on stream. So need to finish that out. We changed this to be reliant on the variable instead. And then I think this partial, let's just clean that up. I think this partial is old code now. So let me get into app.blade. Yeah, we just pasted the PPP banner, and I don't even think we need an ID on this anymore. Yeah, it's in two spots now. First of all, I'm going to get rid of this ID because that was used by the JavaScript before. And then second, we can kill this partial. It's just kind of baked into that now. So let's do git rm on that. Oh, we've changed it. Yes. I killed that old CSRF token. So we can actually kill this now. And if we go here, we just don't need that PPP banner anymore. And nothing was referencing it. I should probably check JavaScript too, but let's let's unfile mask. Yeah, nothing's referencing anymore. So again, removing all the old API call, which returned an HTML partial, which injected it on the page, all of that stuff. Again, in the process of this, while it has been 3 streams, like I'm going to end up removing like so much code, like entire controllers. We don't have the API routes anymore. We don't have these other additional partials anymore. We don't have any of the geocoding service. I got rid of that in the very first stream. So like, there's a lot of code that's gone here now. So yeah, I will do the query, I will do the JavaScript, finish that out. We'll get this deployed, and maybe maybe later today or tomorrow, if you're watching this stream in the future, feel free to go, tack on a PPP Zimbabwe or whatever here, and you should see the banner. And you can see press the apply and see what happens. You can either buy the course for very cheap, or you'll get like some random 409 or whatever we had in that apply endpoint. So, but anyway, yeah, if you're watching this in the future, maybe a couple hours in the future, you should be able to see this, see that it's working. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining live. It's been a fun Wednesday live stream for 2025. I'm looking forward to the live streams in 2026, some new topics and so forth. So thanks everybody for joining live. See you in 2026.